I know lots of changes since last you saw me. My face has a new look, as does my hair. Welcome to AskAway. Let me get this out of the way. I had a moment in Telluride where I kind of lost my temper and went to a salon and said, just cut all the burnt, dead stuff off. I'm done. And I don't have any regrets, even though my hair has never been this short. And it's very strange, disorienting. I don't recognize me yet. And then on top of that, I had to go get my nose fixed. So if you remember, I broke my nose back in November, and in order to fix it, they had to let the bone heal, then re-break it and reset it. So the last 2 weeks I have looked and sounded really rough. Tomorrow I go to get the rest of the stuffing in my nose taken out, which I can't wait for. So I have missed you, and I'm sorry, but that's where I've been. If you can tell from the photo that I included in the August email, there have been times I have looked better and felt better. Today is better than the day that picture was taken. But anyway, I can breathe better, and that is really what matters. But if you can't, let's talk about that. There are two things really going on right now that are working against your running before you even get into the questions that we have for tonight. One of them is the humidity. So when it's this, the relative humidity everywhere except Denver is really, really high. And also it's extremely hot in most places. So when you have extreme heat combined with extreme humidity, it is twice as hard being outside. Think of the difference between doing a spinning class in a room full of sweaty people versus the quiet class with only 2 people. There's a reason, if you like me, there's a reason I always chose a class with 2 people. It's because it would be less hot. It would be easier to breathe. And it would be easier to get a seat, but that is in no small part why. The more people in there, the more body heat, the more humidity, the more carbon dioxide, the more everything, and it just gets harder to do. And that's exactly what's happening outside right now. So another thing that comes along with all of the humidity, as well as getting ready for the turn of the season, is everything in nature is signaling to everything green. Perpetuate the species, right? So it's kicking out lots and lots and lots of pollen. So there'll be some days whatever you have to wipe off of your windshield is also in your lungs, and it's going into your lungs when you go for a run. So I want you to take that into consideration. If you're not running as well as usual, if your heart rate's a whole lot higher, if you find yourself sneezing and blowing your nose a lot more, that's not you. That's literally the appropriate response to everything going on around you. If you were indoors, it would be better, but only if the air was filtered, and not all gyms do really well filtered air. So I tell you that to tell you this: it's not you. The world is totally conspiring against you. And that is a fact, and that is the thing. Anyway, so as we get to the questions that we have for this week, first I'd like to say big congratulations to Amy Wilson and Aaron White and everyone who participated in Beach to Beacon. I know that's a super fun race. Trisha Thorne is halfway through her radiation treatments. Congratulations, Trisha. And she's also settling into her new place in Providence, Rhode Island, one of my favorite cities. 2 of my best friends are actually there this week for their vacation because it's such an awesome place. It's where they got married. And I'm going to be planning to visit to see you really soon after I get this next surgery planned. Yay, hysterectomy. I'm really excited about it. Question number 1, when I'm in a run with a heart rate target, what is more important? Staying at the heart rate target and taking walk breaks, or running continuously but lower than the heart rate target? Thanks. So optimal is the latter. It's finding that pace that you can sustain and stay under 140 without having the stop and start of it all. But I also know that for someone coming back to running after a long time away, where your muscle memory might be at a faster pace, that's a bit unrealistic. So do whatever makes you hate your life a little bit less. If a 16 or 17 minute mile is easier to walk than run, and you really just can't handle being out there, then by all means do the walk. Listen to a podcast, do whatever you need to do to get through the workout, and just know that it's going to get better. The thing we can do to make this faster is to get stronger, and you can do that by joining Ship Shape with Coach Nakia. You can do it by being really diligent. The exercises this month are building off of the exercises from last month. I did that kind of quietly, but the whole idea there is to we want to get those big muscle groups activated, synced, and working again. And all of that is going to make running, everything's easy when you're fit, right? Everything's harder when you're coming back. And when you come back, we need to prioritize mental health, meaning like we're not feeling bad about ourselves and we're not hating our life. And it's one of the reasons why I beg everyone, don't even think about the pace, just pay attention to heart rate. And if you can feel I'm under 140, it'll take a while to get there, but feeling there and staying there is a lot more important. And in the long run, better for your mental health. If you can just step away from it and take pace out of the equation completely, you will just get faster over time. If you get stressed out every time you look at your pace and it demoralizes you and you slow down, that unfortunately is more of a setback. And I'm not saying like your attitude's the problem. Your attitude is an absolutely normal response, and it's not something you can always control. So we need to find the most efficient and effective way to get you out there and keep you out there. So optimal is finding the much slower pace that you can hold continuously, but realistically, one is not bad. The first option of going faster and then slow, that is not bad, unless you're sprinting and then walking for 10 minutes, because that's literally what sprinters do. But we're not sprinters. Everyone here's a distance runner, I hope. I don't want to train like the short distance people that competed today in the Olympics. Is anyone else watching that? I can't look away. Hi, Coach. I recently found out that my lifelong issues with hypoglycemia are due to genetic glycogen storage disease. There's no real treatment other than eating frequently and superstarch type of products. My understanding is that UCAN is made from the same starch that is used to treat my condition, and I'm wanting to try it to see if it helps with activity. Sorry, not anxiety, help with activity. Do you have any experience with this or any recommendations? I love UCAN. UCAN is something that usually, it's one of those things that a slow burning starch that for someone who is elite is a wonderful choice. I don't talk about it that often because we don't have that many ultra runners. Because generally that's not something I tell people to look into, except for long run days. But UCAN is wonderful. It's a terrific starch if you can digest it. It's a really, 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 really good option. I have experience training with it. I like it a lot. It's been around since like 2002 maybe. So it's very well developed, and it's not got super high sugar content. Obviously starch is not something I can tolerate anymore, but back in the day, that was some really good stuff. So I'm excited for you, and let me know how it goes. If it doesn't work out so well, there's some other things we can try, but UCAN is really the gold standard and is the best. I have nothing negative to say about UCAN whatsoever. All right, so now moving on to the portion where I talk about all of the activity that I'm asking you to do in August. So let me pull that up real quick. I have it over here. Oh, goodness. Okay. It has gotten lost in the sea of memes that my friends and I have been sending each other as we get closer to the convention. Election season is just really draining. It doesn't matter like who you're cheering for. All of it is draining, and I'm really tired of talking about it. Oh my God. So there's just some things can only be expressed in memes. And I got there a while ago. No internet. Oh my gosh, of course this is happening during the live stream. Yay. Okay, so looking at August, so maintain, you guys have, well, let's start with the strength. Everyone has the same strength. You've got plank, wall sits, and savasana, along with oblique twists. So oblique twists are kind of like a Russian twist, but we keep our legs in tabletop position, or we keep them on the floor, and we just try to maximize using our obliques to pull us around. That's going to become important later as we get into longer runs throughout into October and November, as for a lot of people who are training for marathons get closer to their race day. Also, the wall sits, that's to be activating your glutes and your quads, all that good stuff. And then Savasana is just a reminder to do it. Like, take time to actually take time and take a break. All of that. Resting is part of training, and that's why I threw it in to the strength this month. It's to remind you of that. Now, going into the runs, these are kind of fun. You've got 4 sets of 6 minutes at 10K effort and then 2 minutes of active recovery. So one of the reasons, whoops, gravity's thing. All right. So one of the reasons that I like this workout so much is the fact that you've got active recovery, right? We just accept that your heart rate in this heat and this humidity is not going to go down as much as we would like it to, but it will fall backwards a bit. So it will fall down. So I don't care if you're walking or jogging or floating, or if you just give up and say, you know what, I'm just going to float, or F this, I'm not slowing down at all. I kind of don't care. What I care about is you feeling the difference between hitting that glycogen burning place, pushing, feeling it, whether or not you like it is something different. And here's why, because this is the time of year when everyone's like, should I do a short race and get ready for a big race? And I'm like, short race and big race, one has nothing to do with the other, but fine, go ahead. Here's what I mean. When you are, 30 minutes of doing anything hard sucks. And if that's a 5K, do you really want to do something hard for 30 minutes, or do you want to do something hard for an hour, or do you want to do something that's really, really not hard at all and only gets hard towards the end of it, like a half? That's very much how I look at distance. And that's why I'm like, if y'all really want to race 5K, go with God, because I do not ever again. And I'm good with that. I'm okay with that, because doing 10K effort just for 6 minutes is going to leave you a little bit winded if you're actually going hard enough to hit that 10K effort. It's not going to feel very good. You're going to feel your obliques. You're going to know where they are. You're going to feel a little pain on either side if you're locking your cage and using good form, because that's what happens when you run at the glycogen burning / tempo pace or faster. For any period of time. It's enough to get those little side cramps, whether or not you feel the need to pull off to the side of the road and poop. So all of that is real, and it does kind of provide a little shock to your metabolism and a shock to those energy maintenance systems that you need to do well in longer distance events. So even though this is 4 sets of 6 minutes hard at 10K or faster, and then only 2 minutes off, those 2 minutes, pay attention to what your body does and what your body's asking you for, right? If it's begging for you to stop and go home, examine that. Do you need some UCAN for fuel? Were you going too hard? Did you not rest enough? Have you not taken care of yourself enough? All of that is pretty real. And then coming over to the Wednesday workouts, 10 minutes slow warm up, and then 3 sets of 2 minutes at 10K, that terrible effort. Then 2 minutes floating, 2 minutes at 10K, 1 minute float. So it's not really a hammer, but we are taking that recovery period. It's not a rest period. But we're going to back off to a float and then push again to that tempo. So we're just accepting this month that everything faster is going to hurt. And we're just saying we're going to call, instead of a rest interval, it is a strength building interval called the float. And it really should kind of feel like you're floating. You're backing off, you're not pushing, but you're like enjoying taking in and inhaling just a little bit more oxygen than you were able to at that slightly faster pace. That makes the faster pace that much easier to sustain over time. All of this will make you faster in a 10K situation. It will make you stronger for a 5K situation. And if I can't talk you out of it, I can always give you a proper 5K workout, because you know what? That will talk you out of a 5K forever. That's okay. But that is what it is, and that's why we do what we do. It's fun because everything's hard in summer heat, and everything is hard, and that means nothing's hard. Right? I think that's how it goes. Okay. Then coming over to rebuild. August. Rebuild 24. Okay. Okay, so your workout, worse to get better. I think of this because I have to remind myself that sometimes when I'm doing something, I have to accept, or if I'm coming back to something that I haven't done in a minute, like when I tried to pick up cross stitching again after 30 years away from it, it's going to get a lot uglier before it gets better. And you've got to be able to sit there in the worse before you can embrace the better. So being okay with sucking, or being okay with the suck, is a necessary step towards improvement, or towards getting wherever it is you want to go. So that's why I gave you guys a minute of cursing. Plus, once you've run out of words, or if you've cursed really loudly and you've yelled a lot, you're going to be out of breath, and you'll need to recover from that with your 3 minutes of walking. So I know we've got a few new people coming back, or people that are returning to rebuild. So just as a reminder, you see worse to get better in the title, 3650. That's 36 minutes / 50 minutes. Lane 1's on the left, lane 2's on the right. We need to spend 1 full month in lane 1 before we move to lane 2. And you don't have to move to lane 2 right away. You can stay in lane 1 for as long as you want. I need you, once you're in lane 2, I want you to spend a solid month in lane 2 before you even think about going over to maintain. I lay all of this out in the membership area of the website, which I am just now remembering that I forgot to update with the plans for this month. I apologize for that. Everything can be found on the blog. I've gotten so used to putting it on the blog that not every month. Every month I go and I have to remind myself, oh, I'll put this on the website, and I just forget. And between surgery and Olympics, I've been a little distracted. So I apologize for that. Anyway, there you go. I'll try to do that after this broadcast. But that is what you're doing in the month of August. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. I hope you come up with some really interesting curses that I've never heard before. And if you do, tell me about them. Throw a pic of you on Instagram and tag us in it. I love to hear it, because you're coached, you're loved, you're winning at life. Don't forget to come say hi in office hours. I'm home with 2 black eyes, healing from septoplasty, and I'm bored. Come talk to me.